Let's get into today's episode of Why We Succeed. What would you encourage to the artists out there, the illustrators who are not yet involved in a community, who haven't gone to any conventions? Would you say, hey, you need to start going to conventions, you need to start becoming a part of a community with other like-minded people? Would you encourage that?
Well, I definitely think that the community aspect is something so important because it really helps you talk with like-minded people who have the same interests, who also have their own experience, which they can share. I remember when I was younger, I started blogging, and that's really where I've met the first other manga fans, because in my environment, I think I only had two friends who were into manga. And like with blogging and the internet, it was really, wow, there are other people who like to draw like manga. That's amazing. And like I remember that I loved getting online with them just to share our stories, to give each other advice. And then we always challenged ourselves outside of our comfort zone, like, oh, hey, why didn't you draw a background there? Or don't you think that the hand here looks a little weird? And it was really, we were so passionate about drawing and exchanging about things that we naturally leveled up everyone together. And
that's good. That's good. Now, I'm curious, when you started to look at it as a profession, as a business, when you started to realize like, oh man, like I can actually take the thing that I'm passionate about and begin to earn a living from it, how did that impact your mindset? You know, because clearly there's time that you have to allot to the business aspect, but then there's also time that you want to spend doing the thing that you enjoy doing, which is drawing and illustrating. So how do you manage the two of those simultaneously?
Well, I always used to be overly productive and wanting results and being super organized and stuff. So I think it's important to mention that once I got started with conventions, I didn't tell myself, okay, now I'm here and I can do it just like this, like it will work out. I got back to school to have another diploma, so I studied business, actually.
Okay. Nice.
And it was like, management, because I still had that idea, okay, if it doesn't work out, I think it could work out and I will try it. But if not, then I'll get back to the manager thing.
Right.
And those were actually 2 years where I was at school, so uni. And during that time, I really continued with conventions, publishing things, getting stuff out, just to see how will people react, how can I evolve, how many clients can I have, how much revenue can I have. And it was really the thing that I needed. Yeah, during my last months at school, I needed to turn down clients because I couldn't take them on because I had school. So I was really juggling between school during the week and then evenings and weekends, conventions, clients and stuff. And that's what really allowed me afterwards to go freelance. So concerning your mindset question, when I got to that point, like I was aware, I was telling myself, okay, it's cool, I can do it. Yeah, and I remember like when I was finished with school, the day after my diploma event, I went to a convention, and it was the first big convention that was in another country. So I was like, okay, I'm super hype, I can do it, and it's great. But I think it was really like the first half year, at least, I suddenly started to be so scared because I realized, oh, wow, okay, I've really done it. I have my papers, and now, well, I need to make things work. And my biggest problem, as I already mentioned, was always money, because I always thought, okay, like getting 2,000 euros alone myself with art will be impossible. I don't know how I can do it, and I never know where my clients will come. And I think this also tied down to me starting to have a very bad self-esteem, because I was already starting to see those other artists. And because before it was like, okay, there are the artists who are already making a living and it's great, but I'm not one of them, so I don't need to worry. And now suddenly I really got into a mindset where I told myself, oh crap, there's so much competition around me. I don't have any clients or not enough clients. There are so many people who do the same thing. I don't have any money to leave my parents' home. And so, yeah, things really got totally messy in my head. And it was really the fact that I was constantly in survival mode, like, okay, I'm taking on this opportunity because I need the money and not because I want to do it.
Right.
And okay, there were some which were cool, but in the end, I think that I took lots of decisions out of fear. And not because it was something that I was truly passionate about. And that's really something I've been working on a lot over the last few months, few years, sorry. Ultimately, it came down to a burnout.
Wow. And, burnout is something that many of us experience, right? And it can have different levels of impact on us. I'm curious, what type of impact did your burnout have? Like, what was some of the byproduct or the results of it?
Well, the burnout, I really didn't see it coming because it was like I was alternating between phases where I was like, wow, things are working super well and I'm totally amazing. And phases where I was like, oh gosh, I'm so crap, I can't do anything. And ultimately, my way of coping was always accepting more and more and more, because in my mind, it was like having a totally booked out agenda and always being stressed out was equaling success to me back then.
Wow.
And the problem was that obviously I did too much.
Right.
And then there really came the moment where I had so much, and there were some clients with whom I got some negative experiences, especially because of the fact that I told myself that I can't set any boundaries, which are so important. Because there were really times where I had so much to do that I had some workshops. I got home like at 7 in the evening, and then I kept on drawing until 11 in the evening for the clients so that they could have the product the next morning at 8. So that they could immediately validate. And then there are the clients who didn't care. Like, well, it's not that they didn't care, but they took their time, and obviously they didn't answer immediately at 8, and then they let some days pass. And I felt kind of always anxious and resentful. Like, I'm putting in so much work. Why can't they put in the work too and take me seriously? The problem is that because I didn't have those boundaries for myself to protect myself, to take care of myself, it ended up really being too much. And then I got into this burnout mode where I just got so resentful about this job and about drawing and not taking care of my own needs, that there are really some commissions where I'm not proud to say it because it's bad for the client. I should have done better, but there was really that moment where I had the pen in my hand, and then I started shaking. And I just felt like throwing up, and I couldn't hold that pencil anymore. And that's really the moment where I realized, okay, I'll finish those jobs, but afterwards I'll quit drawing. And the result was really, I want to totally quit drawing. I don't know what to do. I will quit drawing.
Wow. Like, yeah, those are some major impacts from that burnout. And,
yes,
it puts you all the way in a place where it made you almost want to quit doing what you enjoy doing. And, that's definitely a sign of, oh man, something isn't right.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Why We Succeed. If you value relationships and believe they are the true key to success, be sure to subscribe. To watch this full discussion and gain access to exclusive content, join our Patreon today. The link is in the description. Thank you, and we'll catch you on the next episode.